Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Don Clear, and I am a Business Development Manager here at SSE Network Services. Welcome to our monthly webinar. This month's topic is how to maintain a healthy computer. But before we jump in, I'd like to take just a minute to give you a brief overview of who SSE Network Services is. We are an IT support group based here in St. Louis, and we've been working with businesses in all industries in the small to medium size for more than 30 years. Our goal for every client engagement is to work really throughout the process to assure there's a very tight alignment between the client's technology and their business needs. We offer best-in-class help desk support staffed entirely by tenured Tier 2 and Tier 3 technicians and engineers. And we know IT support's a very crowded field, and we're one of the few, if not the only, that can offer the level of standards and processes, repeatable processes that we do backed up by an ISO certification. And we offer an all-in pricing model that bundles multi-layered approach to security into a fixed monthly price that gives your clients much appreciated cost certainty. And finally, we know there are a handful of things that form a solid foundation for every partnership, things like integrity, quality, empathy, and really an uncommonly high level of communication. And these are the core values we at SSE Network Services live by. So that's my soapbox on SSE. Now I'd like to introduce Vince Seacrest. Vince is our virtual CIO at SSE, and he's been with us for 19 years. Vince is really passionate about the work we do around here, and he's loaded with tips that'll help you keep your environment healthy. Vince, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. This is an exciting topic on my mind because I know that as far as all of our clients are concerned, they view the health of the network from the vantage point of their PC. If their PC is working well, the network appears to be working well, and the opposite's also the same. So we've taken the opportunity to put together our real 13 top tips, I guess, that you really should be aware of as far as maintaining the health, stability, and reliability of your PC. So I'm going to go through those 13 areas today. And as I go through each one, I will try to do a quick demo to show you exactly how to complete this step yourself. So if you have a notepad or want to take a screenshot, it may help you a little bit later if you want to practice some of these tips on your own after the fact. So it's a lot of things that we're going to be looking at today. But a big point I want to really start out with is that it's important to realize that when you get a PC, you take it out of the box, you've got that nice pristine computer, it runs fast, you don't have a lot of hiccups, everything is working great, but then over time, a year, a month, could be even a day later, as soon as you've connected it to the internet, system starts to change. You start getting spyware on your computer, you start building up files, maybe you're getting some viruses. So what we really have done here is identified 13 tips that really reflect tasks like maintenance tasks and proactive prevention tasks that can keep your PC safe and healthy moving forward. To summarize them all on one screen, these are the topics that we're going to go through today. So we'll go through each one of these, kind of highlight the area, and then talk about what you can actually do to keep your system safe. So the first area we'd like to talk about is viruses. Now, as we all know, viruses are typically gotten today from visiting a website, downloading an email attachment, or potentially going to a social media site, clicking on something and getting it there. So it's really important to realize that computer viruses, if they get on your computer, they can copy themselves, they can spread across your network, and the only way to really prevent this from happening is to have a final layer of defense. We consider antivirus to be the final layer of defense. We'll be talking about other layers here. So to keep yourself safe, just make sure three things: that you're running a professional version of antivirus. Here at SSE, we run ESET. This professional version could be any business class version: ESET, McAfee, Semantic System Recovery, Trend Micro. Just about any professional system will allow you to have installed and scheduled antivirus. You want to be able to verify it's updated, and you really want to confirm your antivirus software is not expired. We go to clients all the time that do not have a managed antivirus solution, we open up the antivirus and we find that it's expired. So I'm going to drag this over. This is our antivirus. This is ESET antivirus. And basically, your antivirus is going to look similar. So if you just open it up, somewhere you should see protection status, or you could see update. But what you want to be able to do is click on the protection status or update, and you want to be able to see that your signature file is up to date. Just keep in mind that there are about 50,000 different virus variants that come out every day. So if your antivirus isn't updated daily at least, you're going to have a significant risk. So just open your antivirus, check on the status, and you'll be good to go. Next topic. What we know is with the 50-some thousand virus variants that come out per day, there is no one product out there that has caught all of these. Keep in mind that your antivirus, to a large extent, is protecting you against known caught viruses. So even the best antivirus, such as ESET, it's only able to protect against known viruses. So let's say that's at the 80 to 85% level. That still leaves hundreds of other potential attack vectors. So the only way to really protect yourself beyond the virus approach is to have a secondary solution. So spyware is very similar to antivirus. It's just another type of malware. And very similar to antivirus, you want to have a secondary solution. So we showed you ESET for our antivirus. Here at SSE, we're using Malwarebytes. There are other packages out there like Super Anti-Spyware, other third parties. Equally, you want to make sure that those are installed and updated. I'm going to drag over our Malwarebytes software. And you notice that there are a lot of tabs here at the top, but in general, you'll see a protection tab. Protection tab, if you click on that, you'll be able to see that your malware protection is active and live. And then secondarily, if you click over on the update, you'll be able to see that it is actually updated. So just open your secondary spyware malware protection, confirm it's actively protecting, and confirm that it's updated. That's all you really need to worry about on that side. Moving down the list. Next item we really want to think about is a software firewall. Now, this really becomes important in protecting your computer when you're outside of the office or away from home, because potentially when you have a computer connected to a home network or a corporate network, presumably you're already behind a business class firewall. So therefore, anonymous people on the internet cannot get directly to your computer. However, you take your computer out to a public venue. Maybe you're going to a Starbucks, or maybe a St. Louis bread company, or maybe you're at a conference. As soon as you join that public Wi-Fi, your computer is on a shared network with everyone else. So what you want to do is just double check. Best, easiest way to do this is to open up your control panel. If you go to your control panel, you're going to find in here some firewall settings. In this particular case, you see Windows Firewall. So if we open up Windows Firewall, it's going to have some typical profiles in here. If you're in a business environment, it'll show domain. If you're configured as a private network, guest network, it's going to show that. Basically, you just want to look in here and make sure that A, you have a profile that's active, that the Windows Firewall state is turned on, and you want to note that there's some kind of a policy set up to block connections. This simple feature is a very easy built-in capability. It's in all Windows computers, and it allows you to basically put a level of protection on your computer when you're outside the office. Moving on down the list, unnecessary programs. Most of us tend to add software to our computers. We typically all have Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, probably Adobe in some cases, and some other business class software. As computers get older, you're going to get a lot of additional software added to a computer. This tends to clog and kind of block your computer after a while. So what you should periodically consider doing is going into your system, go into Add Remove Programs, and come in and just take a look at what software is actually installed on your computer. Because you basically don't want to be having unnecessary third-party software that got accidentally installed. I don't know if you tried to install a demo version of a particular piece of software, and you'll find out that it adds a lot of additional third-party software in there that you really don't need. So If you're in your control panel and you switch to the category view that you see here, you'll notice that we have a little link down here, uninstall a program. You'll notice this brings up all the software that we have. You can get a lot of software installed on your computer, but you can just take a look through this. If you see there's software that's old in here that you do not actively use, it's very easy to highlight the particular item in question and just uninstall it. That's off your computer. You don't need to worry about it. Another challenge that we can have is that when you install these various pieces of software on your computer, a lot of them are going to be configured auto start when your computer starts up. So I just went to a command prompt and I typed msconfig. msconfig basically brought up this window. I can see I'm in a normal startup mode. And typically there will be a tab here that says startup. Now in my particular instance, I'm going to view mine in Task Manager, so I'm going to click on Task Manager. And if you click over here and you look at Task Manager, what this is going to show me is every time I turn on my computer and I boot it up, without me even realizing it, all this software behind the scenes is going to be starting when my computer starts. So we've got ShoreTel Communicator. It is enabled. This is our voice over IP phone system. If this is enabled, you'll notice the startup impact is high. So ShoreTel is going to take a lot of space. Skype is enabled. It's going to take a lot of space. GoToMeeting is enabled. It's going to take a lot of space. Kaseya, this is our remote management software. Bing Desktop, Java. So just keep in mind that any of these that are turned on will slow down your computer, particularly if they say startup, high impact. So you can come in here and click this, open it. You can right click on one of these and you can just disable it. You can also open the file location. Click open file location. It'll basically bring up another window, show you exactly what was being executed there. So take a look in there. This is a single simple tip that I can give you that we see this as a problem on almost every computer that we look at if people haven't gone in and done a cleanup. So you should go in there and take a look at add remove programs, take a look at startups, and perform this at least once every quarter. Bottlenecks. Without question, probably the number one thing that we'll get calls on the help desk about is, hey, my computer is slow. So I think if you think about, when's the last time you came in the morning, you popped open your computer, you needed to open up email and print out something, and suddenly it's really slow and it's hanging. Well, that's typically because there's some type of a bottleneck going on in your computer. Bottlenecks typically come from one of four sources, either the CPU, memory, disk, or network. And I just want to show you a very simple, quick way that you can identify the source of a bottleneck. So instead of sitting there with a locked up computer that is really not allowing you to work at all, go down to your taskbar, right click on it, and select Task Manager. When Task Manager comes up, this is the same window you saw before, there's a tab there called Performance. When we click on Performance, what you're going to notice here is this is going to show us the top things that affect performance on your computer. You're going to see CPU. I click on memory. I can see that detail. I can see disk. I can see Ethernet. So most often it's probably going to be CPU. So, maybe I've got a couple applications open. One of them is doing an activity. So CPU here is going to be, let's say, 80, 90%. Every now and then it's going to be memory. Maybe memory is going to be the high one. Or possibly I have a big graphic that I'm working on and I want to save it to my hard drive and my hard drive is maxed out. So your goal is to open, if you have a bottleneck, your goal is to open Task Manager, and it's to figure out which one of CPU, memory, disk, or network is maxed, which is the highest one. Typically it's going to be CPU or memory. So once you've identified, okay, in this case, let's say it's CPU, I can click on Processes. Now here, what I can see is all the software that's running, and if I know that CPU is a high item, I can click on it. And in this case, I'm in Zoom Meeting. Zoom Meeting is taking up 13.9% of my CPU. I can see Outlook here in the background is taking 12.9. So if you click on each one of these, you'll notice it can sort up and down. So what you do is go to the one that has the highest percentage, sort and figure out what is taking up all your CPU. And in the case of Zoom meeting, if I want to get rid of that, I could right-click on it and I could end task. So this would be a very simple way to gain back control of your PC. If the CPU is about 80–85%, it's really just going to hog up all the resources. Your PC is going to seem sluggish, non-responsive. So this is really top tip I can give you for today to save you time and headache on performance bottlenecks. Okay, temporary internet files. Every time you sit down at your computer, every time you open a web browser, you're going to be surfing the internet. When you surf the internet, I'm going to go ahead and drag this over, you're going to be generating files. Those files are going to be cached and stored on your computer. Periodically, you should go in and clean those up. Simple way to do this is just to go in, find the little tool set where it says settings like this, go down and find something looking similar like internet options and click on that. And then you'll notice right down here near the bottom, we have this little section called browsing history. If we click delete, it pretty much selects everything that we need: temporary internet files, cookies, and history. You can select more if you need to, but simply clicking delete will clear this up for you, and that will get rid of all your temporary internet files. So most folks, they're going to be good with doing this once per month. If you're a very heavy internet user, you download a lot of files, maybe you want to take a look at doing it once per week. All right, moving down the list. Disk cleanup. Just like a lot of software gets installed on your computer, what I typically do here is I open a command prompt. I'm going to type disk cleanup. This cleanup is going to create a little app that I'm going to try to open here. So I've already got it running here in the background, but if you open disk cleanup, it's going to come up. It's going to show you all the files that are available to run or available to be cleaned up. You click on it, and it's going to go through and actually perform the cleanup. Keep in mind that there's the basic cleanup and there is the system cleanup. And what I recommend for you to consider is doing both of them. Do the basic cleanup. It's going to clean up just temporary files, log files on your computer. The system cleanup, it's really helpful in the cases of where your computer has gotten slow. So I went ahead and click this here. Here it is. Finally came up. So here you see disk cleanup. It opens up. It shows me right here all the different options. These are the things that I can come in and delete. So if I come in and I select all of these, it could protect me or save me 151 meg of disk space. So all I need to do is click OK, and it's going to do the cleanup. So recommend you go to command prompt, type disk cleanup, bring up the app that looks like this, select all these particular items, and then go ahead and click OK. That'll clean those up. Once that's done, run this again. Instead of selecting items up here, click System Files. Now you are aware that second Tuesday of every month, Microsoft comes out with all the security updates. When those security updates come, they're going to be downloaded to your computer and then they're going to be installed. The challenge is over time, Microsoft keeps copies of all of those system updates on your computer, so inevitably your hard drive is going to fill up. So what you want to do is come in here periodically and click on Clean Up System Files. It's going to go through and do a very similar thing that happened here. It's going to take a lot longer than the short time that we just waited. But if you do this during your lunch hour, get it started, kick it off, let it run the cleanup, that will get rid of a massive amount of wasted disk space on your computer. Okay, moving down the list. Disk defragmentation. All computers are essentially kind of like a file cabinet, you know. So if you think of a pristine file cabinet that you just purchased, you open it up, you put it in the first folder, it takes position 1, position 2, position 3 in sequence. As you delete files, various positions of folders are getting deleted, and in essence, your space is not optimized. So it is optimal on a regular scheduled basis for you to come in and actually perform a manual scan to defrag or a scheduled scan. If you select defragment, bring it up, there is a little tool that's on your computer. It's going to come up very similar to this, optimize drives. In general, this top part of the window kind of shows you the status. So in my case, you know, in your case, the C drive is going to be the one that you really want to look at. So typically, if you're just looking in to come in quickly and get your hard drive optimized, what that really means is it's going to go through and restore your whole hard drive, put all the files in an optimal order, and get rid of that dead space. That's going to result in a faster PC. So one option is to come in and do it manually, select the drive and click Optimize. What I really recommend is to come in and click Change Settings. Change Settings is going to give you the option to come in and set a schedule. So what you may want to do is come in and say, hey, I want to run this on a weekly basis. You can choose the drives that you're going to run. And then as a result, you do that, you won't even have to worry about this. So just like mine shows that the drives have already been optimized, your system will already be optimized in the background. Very easy tip. Okay, moving on down the list. Disk check. Disk check is something that has been in every version of Windows since Windows first came out. It is a tool that is going to check the integrity of your hard drive. Most of the time, if your computer's been powered off without being shut down correctly, when you boot it up, you may see a program popping up in a black window with white text that says something like check disk. In order to run this manually, the easiest way to do it is to go to your start menu, find where it has a command prompt, but instead of opening the command prompt, right-click on that command prompt and click Run as Administrator. When you do that, it's going to open a command prompt that looks something like this. So CHK DSK is check disk, /F is fix any errors. So if you click that and you start it, it's actually going to go through. Yeah, I've got the volume locked right now, so let me take this down. I'm going to take off the /F. So I just ran the same thing without the /F. It's going to actually go through. It's going to check my entire hard disk. I'm not going to wait for this to finish. But it's going to go through a series of tests. It's telling me this check disk is in read-only mode. Just remember, check disk by itself tests the integrity of your drive. Check disk /F is going to go ahead and fix it. So if your drive is locked, you can still go ahead and run the check disk /F. What it may say is your drive is locked. In order for this to complete, we're going to go ahead and let it run, but it may need to reboot your computer. So if that's the case, go ahead and let it reboot. This is essentially going to go through and kind of check the integrity of your hard drive and make sure all your files are healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and Control-C out of this and close that window. Probably should do that once per quarter or any time that you've turned off your computer and you want to make sure the drive is healthy and no data is corrupted. Windows Update. Windows Update is very important. The second Tuesday of every month, Microsoft comes out with all the critical updates. When they do come out with the critical updates, they're going to be available to you. If your system is set to automatically download them, that's great. If not, you can go into Control Panel, and then I have small icons here. I've got Windows Update. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get this little update panel, and you can see the most recent check. You can come in here and just click on Check for Updates. It's going to go through, it's going to check for updates, and it's going to let you know any updates that it found there. You want to go ahead and install particularly all the critical and all the important updates. Also, it's a good idea every now and then to come in and just take a look at your update history. If you haven't updated in a while, you can come in here and see, hey, when did I have my last update? When did that update get applied? What was the status of the update? A very simple way to check it. This is a little bit different on Windows 10, but very similar function as we're going along. Windows Update, again, if you're not familiar, there are bugs in all versions of Microsoft Windows. As hackers find and exploit these bugs, Microsoft is going to put out a patch to fix or close the security hole that they call a Windows Update. You need to have your system set to automatically download these or manually come in and download them at least once a month or as each out-of-cycle item comes out. Okay, moving down the list, optimal environment. This is something a lot of folks don't think about. We'll visit client locations all the time. I know, you know, over the weekend I went into a hotel and I asked to use their business services computer, and I found out the business services computer was in the same room as some other heated equipment like an ice machine that was blowing hot air, and the room was about 85, 90 degrees. So just keep in mind that computers can get dusty. You want to keep them optimal. Get yourself a can of compressed air. You can get it down at Micro Center, most any computer store. Pop open the case and just blow it out every now and then. And then keep in mind that your computer prefers a cool environment. So you're going to have it there, and you want to maximize the life. 60-some degrees, 68-some degrees would be an optimal temperature to keep your environment cool. All right, moving further down the list, hardware upgrades. Workstations really are low cost today. We're seeing clients on average can procure a new computer anywhere from probably $400 to $1,200, depending on what hardware and software is put inside of it. So if you buy a computer and you realize that, hey, this computer has a 3 to 5 year lifespan, your best bet is buy that computer, get it with the current version of Windows, get it with the current version of Office, get it with the hardware and the software that it comes with. And because labor to hire an IT company or hire an organization to do fixes, patches on an existing computer, such as expanding the memory, changing out the hard drive, that's going to be very costly. So you're going to save a lot more money if you come in and purchase hardware, software, and run it out for 3 to 5 years. And then at the end of the time, just turn that in, sell it to an employee, buy another computer. Most of them you'll get preloaded with Windows. So you're able then every 3 to 5 years to buy a new piece of hardware, invest your money in the hardware and the software, not in that setup if you can. And that'll save you a lot of time and money. There's going to be some small setup, but you don't want to pay for things that can be included, is what I'm really saying. Okay, moving down the line. Backup. We know that no matter how perfect you follow these instructions, no matter how good your antivirus or anti-spyware is or your patch management, there's always a chance that you're going to get a virus, or you're going to have a hard disk crash, or you're going to get some software corruption. So in that case, the only thing you really got to fall back on is your backup. So just make sure that you are backing up all your data. We go to businesses all the time where we'll see users inadvertently storing critical company documents on the C drive. They're in the user's My Documents, and they're not being backed up because the My Documents is not being backed up. So just keep in mind, if you have employees and they're storing files on their desktop and that computer crashes, if you're not backing those up some other way, that data can be lost. So you either need to force the users to store to a central share, or create some kind of a backup scenario where that's backed up and protected for the users.
Fantastic. So those are all the questions we have for today, Vince. So
okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And thank you so much, everybody, joining us today.
Okay, and I just put up my contact info and phone number. So if anyone has any direct questions for me, my email is there, phone number is there. We're happy to talk to you, help you, discuss whatever situation you have.